I know our friend Dan Schulman is of the opinion that Marco may, in fact, be one of those guys who ends up getting moved in one of those August deals. Maybe he puts together 3 or 4 starts or 2 or 3 starts, and maybe that maximizes his value a little more. But let's operate under the assumption, Buck, that you're a contending team and you were scouting last night's game. Would you see enough? Would you have seen enough from Marco Strata to say, maybe we take a chance on this guy? Maybe maybe he's our fifth guy, or if we get him right, maybe he's our fourth guy.
Yeah, I think what you do in these situations is you first look at the overall body of work of the pitcher, and for the last 2 years, Estrada's been terrific, including pitching so well in the postseason. And I think that's what these teams are looking for. Obviously, if you're thinking about playing in the postseason, you'd like to have pitchers that have done it before and have had success before. And, of course, Estrada pitched some of the biggest games for the Blue Jays over the last couple of years in the postseason. And, the last 2 years, he's held opponents to a 2.03 average, and he was consistent day in and day out. This year it's been a different story. Got off to a decent start in his first 11 starts, and then the last 9 haven't been so good. But last night there were a lot of positives. I thought there was a crispness to his pitches, and you saw all the scouts there. My goodness, there was scouts from everywhere just about. But that's the time of year it is. And when these guys get traded at the July trade deadline, they're all not dealing. Their chances are they're scuffling a little bit, because if they were dealing, their team wouldn't be in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So now, even Yu Darvish last night, you look at his outing, and he got hammered. And there's been a lot of talk about him getting traded. So I don't think you go on what a pitcher is doing over the last 4 or 5 starts. You look at, first of all, you want to see if he's healthy. You want to see the quality of his pitches, and then you evaluate him according to what you've seen in the last 2 or 3 years.
That at bat that Justin Smoke had last night, coming in after, I don't know what happened to Santiago Casilla against Josh Donaldson. The one pitch was high and in, the other pitch was over his head, and then that last pitch was almost like a curve that curved around.
It was terrible.
That curved around Josh's head. It was. It might have been, honestly, it might have been one of the worst pitching performances I've seen in a long time. But Justin comes up, and we talked to him about it afterwards, and he said he was on the on deck circle. He said, my approach was simply, I'm just going to go up and sit dead red, and if it isn't there, I'm not going to swing. And I was wondering, Buck, is that something that Justin would have done last year as well, or do you think we've seen this guy mature to the point now as a hitter where he's capable of making those adjustments from at bat to at bat?
Yeah, he makes them from pitch to pitch now.
Okay.
And he has the confidence to take 3-0, to take 3-1, look for a pitch he wants, and lay off the borderline pitches. And he's really developed into a pretty good hitter. And as we have said all along, he's getting better and better each month. And he's drawn 44 walks. He's only struck out 77 times, and he's hitting 297. Mm-hmm. And, his OPS is 969. That's all very valid numbers among the league leaders. So I think this is the Smoke everybody expected they would get after he was taken as the number 1 pick by the Texas Rangers. And, just taking him a little bit longer than everybody had hoped.
John Gibbons made a point after the game about how it was nice to have that walk-off experience, and the sense of satisfaction that comes from it. And I think he just basically, regardless of where you are in the standing, at some point you'd like to be rewarded in a dramatic fashion, and certainly that was the case with the Blue Jays last night. Is there anything at all that suggests to you this team, Buck, is capable of going on some sort of finishing kick that we just haven't seen? Again, I know it's Oakland. They're going for 4 in a row this afternoon. But is there anything at all that suggests to you that something may be happening here, the ship may be righted?
Well, you know what? When you look at the overall numbers and the performances and everything else, it would suggest that no, they don't have enough to make a run at it. But then when you look at these 3 games, what has been consistent for these 3 games is the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And the starters have pitched better. And all of a sudden, when you pitch better, you're in every game. And then the bullpen has been great in these 3 games as well. So, it's a special kind of feeling when your pitcher goes out and puts up zeros, and you say, okay, we're even. We score one, we got the lead. Instead of thinking, we got to score three to tie it. And it's always difficult to play catch-up baseball. So I think it's possible. You got Stroman pitching today. And, Jay Happ has shown signs that he's got things sorted out now, and it's all going to be about the pitching. There's no question about it. If the starters can come out and give you 6 and occasionally 7 innings, I think the bullpen's got the depth to be real strong down the stretch.
Speaking of the bullpen, in spring training this year, John Gibbons, when I got down there and I asked him kind of, have you seen a dark horse guy or a guy that you kind of keep an eye on? He said he really liked Dominic Leone. We've seen Dominic Leone here. I mean, he's been the victim of the numbers game a couple of times because he has options left. But do you see this? Is this guy, sort of those 1-year guys you see every now and then in the bullpen? Is there something about him that suggests to you that there may be something a little more than that inside this guy? Because he certainly appears game when he comes into a high leverage situation.
Yeah, and you know what? The encouraging thing is he's 25 years old, and he came to the major leagues in 14 with Mariners and got off to a good start. He won 8 games that year, and then it was quite a drought. He didn't have another win until this season. But I think being in this atmosphere and you watch Osuna, and Osuna has become the de facto veteran down there, if you will.
Yep.
He's holding mini pitching clinics during the game. He's talking about looking for things, and you guys need to watch this, and if a hitter does that, then you counteract it. And I think with the development of Tepera, Joe Biagini is back down there throwing the ball well. And Dominic Leone is kind of like, okay, this is a pretty good bullpen. Joe Smith has had a lot to do with their success. And now Leone has just kind of fallen in line. He comes out and throws strikes, and his stuff is very good. He's got a good breaking ball. He throws his fastball over, and when he does that, he's going to have success. So I think John Gibbons was right on the money, and you're right. They all thought, boy, this Dominic Leone kid's good. He didn't break with the team, but it wasn't long before they made a call and got him up here. And as you mentioned, every time he had a couple of outings where he threw a few too many pitches, they sent him back down to get a fresh arm. But I think he's going to be here for the rest of the year because he has certainly earned that right.